Welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Jennifer Eller, and today with me is my co-host Mike Hill and our producer Nick Wilson. Right, Nick? Yay, hello.
Got to get the camera moved, showing on him.
And our guests today are Bruce and Jessica Shafer. Welcome. All right. I know Bruce has been worried about my intro questions here, so
start with her.
So, favorite movie?
Oh boy.
Do you like movies?
Gran Torino. That's definitely my by far favorite.
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino.
Who's in that?
You don't know Gran Torino?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I know. I'm thinking of like what's the guy? Fast and Furious guys. That's what but that's not Gran Torino.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. Okay.
You,
All right.
You don't know that movie. You're not
It's like an old movie, isn't it?
Yes. When did that come out?
I mean, is it like a shoot 'em up and?
Kind of. It has a pretty good story behind it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not just Netflix. Is it on Netflix?
I don't think it is.
Prime.
I think it is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blockbuster. You have to go to Blockbuster.
There's no such thing anymore.
I know, but it's so old you can't find it anywhere.
Actually, we got it on DVD, but we have nothing to play DVDs on now. So.
Do you remember the day of Redbox?
There's still a Redbox at Walmart.
Is there really?
Yeah, the little vending machine thing. Yeah.
Did you ever go into like a store and rent DVDs?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you are old.
I'm not that. No.
I mean, come on.
No.
That's been a long time ago.
Been a
I mean, there
while.
haven't been any DVD stores open for a long time. It's okay that you're
Yeah,
old.
I'm not that old.
Did
No.
they have one of those in Warren?
Yeah, they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
VHS.
big- think of the name of it.
VHS,
The
Beta.
big town of Warren.
Yeah.
The big town of Warren.
Big
yeah.
town of Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jessica, your favorite movie?
I don't know. We were talking about this last night because Bruce
I
is
know
so
it.
nervous about the introduction question. And he asked me what my favorite movie was. And I was like, I don't know. And he said, it's Elf.
Elf?
Christmas
Oh,
movie.
is it really?
It's definitely Elf.
No.
100%.
It's like my favorite Christmas movie, I guess. But
you
I'm not
get
a
into
big
Christmas?
Is it all year round?
I do not. I'm just not a big movie person. Like Bruce is always
Yeah.
like, let's watch a movie. And I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm not a big movie
I don't
person
have that
either.
attention span.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't sit there that
No, I'll
long.
fall
Usually
asleep
falls
or.
asleep. Unless you're in a theater.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not that into movies.
Does anybody go to the theater anymore?
Maybe once a year we go. Maybe once a year. I did hear that new movie, Unsung Hero. I think that's what it's called. Is a really good movie. It's a
Unsung
Christian-
Hero.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's with Rebecca St. James, which she's the sister of For King and Country, the For King and Country group. Okay, you went and saw
I
them.
don't listen to music.
You went and saw them in concert at Christmas time 2 years ago. Okay,
Participate because we get invited to things. So I participated. Is that the one that did Drummer Boy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
yeah. So it's their sister. It's about like her life or something. So it's a biography. But I heard
Okay.
it was good. Anyways,
I heard movie popcorn's good.
movie popcorn.
Yeah,
I worked in the
cool.
movie theater in high school. Yeah.
Did you?
It's the best. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you eat a bunch?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I would go
Yeah.
make myself sick on movie theater popcorn.
And especially if you closed for the night, you could take a trash bag home full of popcorn. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Wow. So what does your family like to do in the summertime? Your favorite summertime activity?
Well, we have 2 little kids, so we don't do a lot, but what do? We go to the park a lot. We go to the zoo a lot. And then Bruce has a boat. He likes to fish. So we go out on the
Do
boat
like to fish.
without the littles, though.
And do you ever catch anything?
Try to.
Yeah. Where do you
Every
go?
once in a while. Typical. I like to go up north more, like Webster, Barbie,
Okay.
that area. We've done Tri-Lakes a lot. There's a lot of little lakes around there.
So Jessica, do you actually fish, or are you sitting there
I
reading
just
a book?
sit there,
or you
read
just-
a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a suntan. Yep.
Basically.
Yeah.
Do you go multiple times to the zoo?
Oh yeah, I
a year?
went yesterday. We're going again on Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the zoo.
Yeah, Eric asked me a few weeks ago, do you want to go to the zoo this summer? I said, no, not really. I'm like, no, our kids are grown, and no, I don't really want to go to the zoo. So
Yeah, we used to take the kids when we were little, you know,
Yeah.
on the weekends and stuff. And so, I was talking to Sarah about the zoo because Sherry and I were in Florida once. We went to the big Florida zoo wherever we were, and she's like, I never took my kids to the zoo. Who wants to go? Those animals never come out. You just go walking around and it's hot the whole time. And I'm like, you are such a Grinch about the zoo. You can still walk your kids around. It's like, it's hot and expensive and the dumb animals never come out anyway.
The kids fell asleep early last night, though. After a day at the zoo,
Yeah, you got to keep them busy.
Yeah.
Keep them occupied. How old are your kids?
3. Emmy is 3, and then Ollie is 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah, you're in the busy season.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you do on your first date?
Oh, gosh.
That's for you.
Well, how did you meet?
We met in high school,
You
like
did.
just our friends, mutual
Okay.
friends, I guess. I don't know. We probably went to Arby's
really
or
don't
something.
remember.
Like,
Come on, Bruce. That was your serious first date, Arby's.
I don't remember at all.
I don't know. We just like all hung out with our group of friends back then.
Yeah.
And it was a date. But
Okay.
yeah,
don't know about
we
a
went to
date.
Arby's or I don't know, the movie theater maybe. I don't know.
You guys both went to Huntington. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Are you like Mr. Romantic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely,
That's
yeah.
your strong suit.
Oh, absolutely. Right?
You
Come on,
said-
back me
Yeah.
up. Come on.
I told him I wanted a Mother's Day present, I don't know, this weekend. And today he was giving me the,
You're not
like-
my mother.
no, like,
Oh.
you can't tell me you want a present and not tell me what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole thing. So
I'm not good at the gift giving.
Is that one of your love languages?
I like, yeah, I think so. Like effort, you know?
Yes, that is. That is like the typical wife's answer.
Yeah.
If you just put just a little
ounce
effort,
of
like
thought, yeah.
a card, a piece of candy, something that made you think of me, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yes. I'm surprised you didn't give her the whole like you're not my mother.
Should now. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, he hasn't thought of that.
Sorry, that was hilarious. Just a little effort. Just a little effort.
You can relate, right?
No, because gifts aren't my love language.
Okay.
So no.
You don't care at all. All
no,
through
no.
Mother's Day.
No, Mother's Day, I don't. Because I want to feel special just because, not because this is Mother's Day or it's Valentine's Day or something
Right.
like that. It's like,
Jesse's just pulling for some straws. She's just like,
Just throw me a bone.
I mean,
but like on my birthday. But then like Trevor last night's like, well, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, Trevor, you don't have to get me anything.
when's your birthday?
It's coming up.
That's subliminal. That's a subliminal
I
message.
do not tell people
That-
my birthday.
Nick, is that not a subliminal message? That's what women do. You don't have to get me
No.
anything. And then you get them nothing and they're like,
No, that's what Trevor said. He goes,
how are you doing today? Fine. Fine.
that's what Trevor said. Don't you be one of those girls. I don't get you nothing. You're going to. I said, Trevor,
Yep.
I really don't. You know.
Subliminal.
So I did tell him, I said, you can get me something from my favorite boutique, like a gift card, but don't spend a lot of
But
money.
you want to feel special. Like
I do,
you want
but
to feel
I
special.
don't want my kids to spend money on me.
You don't want your kids to make you feel special?
That's not my love language.
Being
So,
like feeling special?
well, feeling special, but gifts is not it.
Oh. But
So.
they could do it in another way.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So, okay. So,
Just a little more so Bruce.
Yeah.
Just a little effort.
Yeah.
I love it. We're all in the same camp, man. We're trying.
okay. So, what did Faith look like when you were a kid? Growing up, elementary, junior high, what was life like?
Why don't you start with your
Whoa. That's a harder question. I guess I grew up in the church. It's probably the same church for most of my life until we started coming here. What was it like? I don't know.
not to speak for you, but I
Yeah,
think you're
speak for me, please.
Your mom was very much like, unless you're in the hospital, like you're going to church on Sunday.
Careful, she walks.
Yeah, which no shade.
No, not at all.
But
She's
What's
definitely-
wrong with
yeah.
that?
From what
I'm
he
with her.
describes, yeah, from
Yeah.
what he describes, like you were going to church on Sunday.
Yep. Every Sunday, unless you're in the hospital or something crazy is going on.
Yeah, and I'm just curious. I mean, from a personal perspective, like what translated and kind of made it your own? Like what translated for you from, hey, mom's making me go, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Good job. Listen, in the
Yeah,
hospital.
yay, Debbie.
Yeah.
Did it, what became a switch for you? Or when did it become a switch? Like when you got in high school, out of high school, got married, started having kids? Like when did it become like, oh, this is something?
That's a kind of a.
Or did it just happen over time?
I guess it was over time. It's just part of my life growing up. I think I got more into it, 17-ish era. I guess I grew like stagnant, something you just did on Sunday.
Yeah.
You just get stuck in a spot. And I was definitely one of those where, how do I say it? I went to church, but I was not truly excited to go every Sunday. I just...
Sure.
Another day, something I had to do.
But you felt good because you went. Like you checked it off the list.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
And it just, actually, I don't really listen to podcasts, but The Unashamed, have you ever heard of that one? But I started listening to that one. That was before, I still worked at Troxels at the time. So that kind of changed my perspective on things, and it kind of grew more into my life. I think that kind of changed views. And
Was it important when you were looking for a wife?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know.
definitely.
Like sometimes when you're in high school, faith doesn't necessarily always fit in to what you're looking for.
I guess it's one of those where I don't really think about it, but looking back, it definitely did.
Yeah.
No, it was just so much part of my life that I didn't even realize it was there sometimes. But I guess if that makes sense. Your turn. Take over for a minute.
You got enough out of me.
So I wouldn't say I grew up in church, but I wouldn't say I didn't either. Like my parents kind of went kind of like Easter and Christmas type of family. My mom grew up really Catholic, so she, I think, had a lot of like church hurt and like forceful into church and stuff. So she definitely wasn't into like, she's said to me before, like, I believe in God, but I don't believe you have to go to church every Sunday to believe, or something like that. Like that was her tagline growing up. And I think that's like derived from years in Catholic church. But anyway, so we went a little bit. I went mainly with like other families. So I don't know what this says about me, but I think I just like chased my friends around to church.
Yeah.
Like I went with, in elementary school, I went to First Church of the Nazarene for a long time because most of my friends went there. I was really, really good friends with the Dowdies. So when Lee worked here, Luke and I were like best friends for years. So I came here for a long time with Luke and Lee. And then when I started dating Bruce, I switched to church and went to church with Bruce. So it's kind of been like pretty, like mainly consistent, but not like, nothing like a Debbie where we got up every Sunday and went.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have been, so I went with him, and then we came here after that.
I think we were just looking for more, trying to get involved, and we were having trouble. And long story short, we walked in the doors and joined Taylor's group, and we kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
So talk about, so growing up, going to church, like when did it become more important to you? Or was it always the same? Or does that make sense? Like, because you went where your friends went, and was one point along that journey more of like, oh wow, like this is where things have become more personal, where it's starting to make more sense, where it's starting
I think probably like late middle school, like, I don't know, when you're like growing out of like being a kid and kind of into young adulthood. Like I remember like really connecting the dots. Like I feel like I went because my friends went, and like I was involved with like campus life and student leaders and that kind of thing. And I feel like, yeah, I just went because my friends were there. But eventually, probably, gosh, I don't know, maybe 7th or 8th grade is when I was like, oh, there's actually like something to this. It's more than just like a hangout with your friends.
Right. Yeah, no, that's good. And then, I mean, maybe this is on your questions, but so when you got to the place where you started coming to life, you were like, what were you guys searching for as a couple? Like, what were some of the things that were like, hey, we need to.
So
to
we
do
started
something?
coming here in 2020 when our church was they were still doing like only online because gosh, it was probably what, May or June, I don't know, like
remember.
early on in 2020 when most of the churches were still closed. And I think we were just like, we want to go to church. We want to sit in a church and not just on our couch watching church. So I think we were just like desperate for a church mainly, I think.
I think we wanted to be more involved
And
too.
then, yeah, that was definitely
That was a big part of it.
Yeah.
I think, I'm trying to think of the series. I think it was a Corinthians series. I was listening online. I was like, I kind of want to hear this, you know? So I think that brought me here in the first place, because I walked in here by myself, which is, I don't know, pretty not like me.
Yeah.
I'm not very gonna go do something on my own. Usually she's dragging me places, hence why I'm here. So
That's why you're here at the podcast, because she drug you along.
I mean,
Bruce, I texted you both, so
I believe I was the first one to answer
Sorry.
that.
Remember
too.
he said no, we weren't going to do it?
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember.
And then it was a text message later. She said, "Oh yeah, we will." And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens in group text messages. You just get lumped in.
So why did you come by yourself then? I mean,
She was working.
Okay.
Was the main
Yeah.
reason.
Okay.
She was. You can talk about that if you want. Nurse.
Yeah, I'm a nurse, so I just have to work on the weekends. So I think I must have been at work on a Sunday and you came.
Yeah.
What if we ever did church on a Saturday night? Do you think we would get more nurses to come to church?
Probably. Yeah. Just,
I know. We tried a Saturday
Yeah.
night service a long time ago.
Yeah,
And it
it just
completely
didn't-
failed.
yeah.
Well, I say completely failed. We tried it and we just couldn't get people to come.
enough
I always thought, like, for working professionals that
Mm-hmm.
work weekends all the time, that a Saturday night would be good. But then somebody told me the other day, do Thursday or do a weekday. That way somebody still has their, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
yeah.
I just didn't know if it
I'm sure,
mattered,
yeah.
like, to nurses or working professionals, because that would be hard, because some people's, they're
Yeah.
always on the weekend, right?
Yeah,
Like, their
yeah.
shift's always on the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Anyway.
So I'd ask you a question, like, when was there a time that you really had to lean on Jesus to get through a situation? And you both had a couple good stories that to share.
I gotta remember what she said here.
So I think one of mine, like I said, I was pretty involved in campus life, pretty involved in student leaders, which is like a YFC thing before school in the mornings. So Nate Hasty had a big impact on my faith. Like I think that's probably when I really started connecting the dots was through Nate. And then like I had a lot of like positive adults like Lee Dowdy and Hillary House, like a bunch of people. But Nate was like at the forefront of all that as the student, the campus life leader. And I think, so he was in middle school. I think his arrest was, I think maybe when I was a sophomore in high school. And I just remember like, for some reason I had stayed home from school that day and me and my mom were home and I was upstairs and it like the news story played and my mom called me downstairs and I like immediately like burst into tears. And then I was like, there's no way that's true. Like it can't be true. Like the Nate I know, like there's no way. And so then I was just in such denial about it. And I remember like me being like a social media warrior back then. Like I remember like defending him on like Twitter and stuff, being like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Like there's no way. There's just no way. And then once like it came to light, like everything that he had done, like that was like, I had never felt like so just like led astray, I guess. Because I'm like, if you can say all of this but be doing another thing, like is anything you taught me even real? So I think that was like a big turning point in my faith, like kind of separating like what is mine and what was his and like the foundation of my faith, I guess.
Can you I mean, I'm fascinated with that because that was, that was all during my time too, my
Yeah.
kids and,
Yeah.
were all, I mean, they were never involved in campus life, but that was, that was at the time where, for years I kept saying, because the idea would be campus life and the campus life leaders going to church somewhere because you're trying to get kids to church. Right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was always like, isn't it weird? Like Nate doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
you need to go to church. Like, and
Yeah.
I go to we have these, and again, Nate was trying different churches and different things.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was a big deal because he was having a huge impact.
Right, because I think he did. What did he do? Both middle schools, or I don't know. But yeah, almost
he
like
came to
every middle
ceremony.
schooler in Huntington County that was involved through Nate.
Right. Right. And just had a big impact on a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then to this day, there are still people who would say opposite of you, right? That they were there, they were a part of, and now faith is not relevant in their life because of Nate
Yeah.
Hasty. Like for
Yeah.
you, it was, you recovered. I mean, I don't even know if that's the right word, but
Yeah.
I mean,
and I
for-
think probably because I had so many like positive, influential people. Like I remember I sat down several times with Liz, the high school campus life director. I sat down several times with Hillary. I sat down several times with just like my friend group's mom, Lee, like just so many people, like just processing through whatever we had on our hearts about Nate, I guess. And that's probably why, like I had adults that I trusted walking me through it and like proving to me that not everyone in the church is like that, I think.
yeah.
So
Because I think that, I mean, again, you still hear of that stuff, and I'm like, that's been a long time ago.
yeah, that was, a long time ago.
I can't
Probably 10, 11 years ago?
I don't
12?
remember.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school and I'm 28 now. So yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, but that's been, so because I think that's a monumental point in people's life when they trust somebody. So take Nate out of it and put anybody in there. When you put somebody in there that you trust, and that you learn
Yeah,
from,
yeah.
and that it's influential with, when trust is broken, it's a hard battle to get back. So for you, you're saying having other people help you navigate it was helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I like, it was here, like in the cafe and like when Campus Life used to meet here, like I came here so many times, just like crying in the back corner with so many different people, friends and Liz and Hillary and a bunch of different people.
Right.
Yeah.
Bruce, you had shared on the text something about your grandpa. I don't remember what it was, but I think
Yeah. So let me get my dates right. 2011, right? I'm thinking right.
Yeah, I guess.
It's the year is important. But my grandfather, I was a sophomore high school, 2000. I'm trying to remember. We lost my grandfather to cancer. So he had to bring this one up. It was a hard time, I knew I couldn't do it. I'm a big softie, so I'm trying to think of how to explain this one. He was growing up, he was always a big influence in my life, and gosh dang, losing him it was tough. It was tough. It kind of rocked the family, He was something. We all leaned on him. We all learned from him. I guess fast forward, we can talk about Emmy. It goes together kind of. So she came 3 or 4 weeks early.
Emmy, 5 weeks early.
5 weeks. I was a little close. But it was kind of like an unexpected thing too. We weren't ready.
Yeah.
You can tell. So she actually, you want to tell that story, the candy store, or no?
I mean, so I was pregnant with Emmy and she was due in April, but it was March 12th, I guess. And I was getting ready for my baby shower, which is going to be the next day. I was at a candy store in Huntington buying candy, the one downtown. And my water broke at the candy store.
my gosh.
And it was like 5 weeks early, our first baby. Like I knew what happened, but I was like in denial about it.
She called me, everything's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, she was born the next day, March 13th, 2021.
Which my grandpa actually, he died on March 13th. So
So it was like 10 years to the day of his grandpa's passing. So I think that just like a beauty from ashes kind of thing for Bruce and his family.
So yeah, that
Can you
was one of the hardest things I've gone through, is losing my grandpa, and then to have, Emmy born on the same exact day is.
Can you pick out any attributes from your grandpa that was like, he made a difference for me because? Like, was there something he did in your life? Because, again, I think that's something for all of us to learn. Like, how can we, when we're talking about mentoring and being influential, what is it that an older grandpa had an effect on your life?
Just the things he taught us, we were over there constantly, a couple times a week even, and just spending time with them. Kind of the same, you hear the term like the same man on like Saturday night as Sunday morning. Just the influence he had on not just us as a family, but the community, being a teacher. But I think that was a big thing. He taught us so many things, and we spent so much time with him. He just became kind of a pillar for who I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
Yeah, so then you had baby number 2,
Yes.
and he was premature too.
Yes.
Yeah, and you didn't have a very good, I want to say, not pregnancy, but you weren't expecting baby number 2, and that was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't ready for another baby, I don't think. And then, so I kind of was just, I don't want to say unhappy, but like unhappy that we were having another baby because I was in grad school. We still live in our starter home that we bought in 2016.
Shafer Shack, we
yeah,
call
the
it.
Shafer Shack. That's what we call it. It's 2 bedrooms, so we had one baby, Emmy in one bedroom, us in the other bedroom. So just our lives were just like not ready for another baby. I was in grad school, hardly working, trying to get through school, and then he was born even earlier than Emmy, like 6 weeks early, and he spent time in the NICU. And then I don't know why I didn't struggle with this after Emmy was born, but for some reason I had really bad postpartum depression and anxiety after Ollie was born. And I don't know, just like, it's just like such a cloud of that time in my life. But I remember like my breaking point, like I was holding him one day and I was like, if I dropped him off at the fire station, like I don't even think I would be sad. Like he just, like I was taking good care of him, like I'm a nurse, I can take care of anybody and everything. Like he was well cared for, but like I definitely didn't love him. Like I could look down at him and he was just a baby to me. Like he wasn't my baby, he was just a baby. And like as a mother, like that's just like the worst feeling I'm sure anyone can ever have, just like looking at your own child and feeling nothing almost. So I think, I don't know where I was going with that, but that was just like a really, really low point in my life. And luckily I have Debbie, who we made fun of for making Bruce go to church when he was in the hospital. But she really, really stepped in at that time and helped me just kind of get through it. Like she came to my house and did nothing but sit with me, which was super helpful just to know that I wasn't alone. And just friends helped a lot, just talking through it. And then obviously I like that day when I was looking at him and I was like, I could get rid of him and wouldn't think anything of it. Like that's when I that night I was praying and I was like, God, I can just not do this anymore. Like I cannot get through this without you. And I think that's a time when like I probably felt the Lord working in my life the most, was like just getting through that hump of like really bad days.
And so in that time, is this something that like you were telling people, not, hey, I don't want a baby, or is it just something people notice? I'm trying to decide how people knew how to help you. Because I think that's an interesting thing about depression.
I mean, I think Bruce knew, like I was definitely not myself at home, but then Debbie was like consistently like, hey, I'm having a Bible study. Come to my house this night. Where were you? Why aren't you coming? Like, what's going on? And finally I was like, I cannot come. Like I physically like the thought of leaving my house was just like crippling to me. And so then I finally told her what I was dealing with, and she kind of like rallied the troops after that. And like, she got her small group involved, praying for me and my sister-in-laws, Bruce's brother's wives. And my mom was helpful too, and my best friend, just a lot of people. I did finally
Never even
reach
mentioned
out.
me in this.
Yeah. And Bruce.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, I just meant like sometimes when people are like you don't know how to help because you don't know what's going on.
And like I don't really even knew. Like I don't know. I could have told them what I needed either. Like it was just, just like overwhelming. I don't know. It's hard to talk about because there's not like a specific thing I could say was wrong other than I just didn't feel right. Like I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird.
How long does
feeling.
that last?
So I finally got on anxiety medicine, and that's like what really got me through it. But it was, 2 months at least.
See, you had a little bit with Emmy too. It was like a 2-week stint. Though.
Yeah, that was probably more like the baby blues that they talk about, and I like got over that. But
Waking up at.
I remember
random
like
hours of the night
one of
and-
the days where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. It was like daylight savings time, and we were losing an hour of sleep, and it also snowed that night, so Bruce had to go to work, and I was like, I can't take care of 2 small kids and lose an hour of sleep and be by myself. Like I just can't do it. And he was probably 2 months old at that point, so it was months.
Right.
Yeah.
It was at least a couple months.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe even a little bit more.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and so how did you deal with that? I mean,
Just being there, I think, was.
yeah, I don't mean deal
I
with
mean-
that. That might have been the wrong terminology.
Yeah.
How did you handle that together?
We've never seen anything that I've never seen something like that. I don't even know. Just being there was the
I
big
think,
part.
just like
yeah.
consistency. Like when you got home from work, you did the brunt of the kids stuff, and
Kind of took over.
yeah.
Yeah, that was tough.
And I think you like really encouraged me to like, it's okay to go to the doctor, and it's okay to need a medication to get you through like a hard
Because you
time.
didn't think you didn't want to get a.
It's not, I don't know. It's not that I didn't want to. It's just like embarrassing, I think is what it was. And I know it's super common. Like they talk about it, like the second your baby is born, they're like, okay, do you feel like, how are you feeling? And they're like, postpartum depression is a real thing. And I'm a nurse, and like being in healthcare, I know that, but
I think you also have a hard time saying I'm struggling.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I asked, because I would say that there's a lot of people, so not even just with pregnancy, with depression in general, with anxiety, with like just feeling off. And there aren't
Yeah,
very many
for sure.
people who are willing to be like, hey, I'm not good. Like this
Right,
isn't,
yeah.
I'm not okay, And so that's why I was wondering, like, through that process, how you got through it and how, people could know, because I think that's the other problem. A lot of us will look and we're like, I think they're off, but what do? Do you just come up to them and say, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Kind of
You know
what
what
I
I'm
did.
saying? Like I'm sorry.
That's
You
not the
can't-
right answer. That's not the
I
right
know
thing to say.
that's not the right answer, but my point is sometimes you're sitting there, you don't know what to say. Like,
Right. And
are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And you just know
you know they're not, but yeah.
how do you break through, or how do you get to that point? Because I think that's a
yeah.
tough spot.
And I don't think anyone could have really said anything either to make me feel better. Like I just,
But I think it's a good awareness for any new mom that's out there that people continue to reach out to.
yeah, for
That
sure.
mom,
Like how,
and just like,
because
can I do
everyone's always like,
something?
how is the baby? And,
I never
and
thought
not,
about
yeah,
that.
like,
not how's the mom.
yeah. And I think just having like a toddler, Emmy wasn't even 2 when Ollie was born. So just like having,
2 under.
2
2
under
under
2 was
2.
just,
She wouldn't go 3 under 3, so.
so just a lot.
Oh golly.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that's a good representation too of what you said of like having people reach out, and so just be aware, I guess, is that, maybe don't go up and ask them what the hell's going on, but just being there and being present.
Being present. Yeah.
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 Consistency for sure was like, I think what got me through it. And just like words of encouragement, like this is so small, but Debbie had, I'm sure, told her small group about it because several of them like reached out to me. And Rachel Smith one day like just sent me a text, and she was like, hey, you're a good mom and I'm praying for you. And I'm sure like that was a 5-second text she fired off, but that in that moment, like I really needed that, and that touched my heart and like really they just like gave me the strength to like kind of keep going that day. So just things like just small little things like that.
Yeah, we do need to hear when their kids are little. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah,
You know
it's
that
so
you are
hard.
a good mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, even when you feel like you're failing, you're still
right.
good.
Yeah.
Because that happens.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my kids are almost 4 years apart, and I mean it's hard,
Yeah.
especially when they're babies, trying to get things done in the house and this and that. You put pressure on yourself. You know, I think a lot of times it's not like our husbands aren't putting pressure on us. Usually, it's like you because you want things to be a certain way,
Right,
and you
like
can't get to certain things.
You
and
want
you're
to
like,
have the house clean, and you want to
Yes.
have groceries and dinner and the kids taken care of. And I was in nurse practitioner school, so I had homework, and I didn't take any time off of school, and I was going to clinical, and I was
Yeah.
like just so much stuff going on. So, right, and you just want it all like
it's like the housework can wait. The kids can,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's just like it'll be okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Chicken
Brady and
nuggets for
Lexi were
supper.
16 months apart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
gosh.
Jeez.
Like, we just expect it to be crazy. Yeah. Ugh. Poor wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because again, we get to leave. I mean, that's the thing about dads. I mean, we get to go. Anybody, like, okay, I'm going to make somebody mad. You know the whole thing I heard yesterday? There's maternity leave for men now.
Yes.
Like where the man can stay home.
Bruce
got
gets
4
a
weeks.
month of paternity leave at his job.
Yep.
Okay, you couldn't, even if they gave it to me, I'm not taking it. Like,
That's free time. What do you mean?
I don't want to stay home with the baby. I'd go nutty. I'm just saying. Like, what? You don't think that's... You didn't.
No,
You don't. Wouldn't go nutty staying home taking care of kids. You must be
yeah.
a better
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
no, he was. When,
No,
on
I can
Bruce's
do about a
maternity
day at a
leave,
time.
He started
That's-
baking bread. He started
yeah.
doing
Did
like
you
all
really?
this
Oh,
like
yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
stuff that he
I
would
learned how
never
to cook.
do. Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
you make a baby together. You can try to stay home and raise the baby
Bull
together.
crap. No way. Like
It's
there's
not
like
just the woman's responsibility.
I know, but it's the man's job to work. Like
If they get the time off that they can spend with their family, take care of
I
their
still
wives.
made
I mean,
money.
her body is changing, going back to the way it's supposed to be.
That's what moms are for. Mom.
No,
Yes. Guys are supposed to be working. The ladies.
And
Just
I
saying,
think
good job, Bruce. I'm glad you did it. You learned to bake bread and cook.
Well, the first few weeks of it, we were going back
that's
and
true.
forth
Our
from the
kids were both
NICU.
in the NICU for a couple
So
weeks. So
it worked out because I drove her back and forth to the hospital for countless
Yeah.
days. Felt like forever.
But I mean, don't let him fool you. He was going nutty.
Oh yeah.
I-
Losing my mind slowly.
One time I came home and he had a hat on and he had a flashlight clipped to his hat and he was sewing something at the table. Like,
You were sewing
I
something.
was probably doing something
nutty.
important.
See, this is what happens to you, men. When you take paternity leave, you're gonna be sewing things.
Yeah.
What?
That's a useful
was it?
skill. You
You're
should know
gonna
how
be
to sew.
sewing things in a flashlight in a dark room by yourself.
I don't even remember
I think
that.
it was
This
a
is what
dog's
happens
collar
to
or
you.
something.
Oh yeah, the shock collar. The dog
yeah.
yeah. We had a shock collar for the dog, and she chewed it in half. So I fixed that. I wasn't gonna let her go without that.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Kudos to you.
Yeah. So now you guys are at Live Church. You've been coming since 2020.
Yeah.
So you serve? Are you in community? What does, like, since you've landed at Live Church, what does that look like?
So we help out in children's ministry like once a month, sometimes twice a month in the 2-3s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So are you Emmy's teacher? Or do you
Yeah.
go do, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Does that go okay?
Yeah. She likes it.
yeah.
Yeah. I think she likes it better when grandma is her teacher, but
We're nothing when she's in the room.
and then we're also in Taylor's Sunday morning small group. I don't know, it's kind of evolved. It used to be like I don't know, it's changed over the years, but Taylor is the head of our small group that meets on Sunday mornings after first service, and we talk about the sermon usually. And yeah, I think that's it, right?
Just trying to survive her home life. Really?
Because you've graduated, so you're done with school, right?
Yeah. I graduated last July.
Oh, what, 8 years of school you had to college?
Wow.
Yeah.
To be a nurse?
I'm going to be a nurse practitioner. So I'm done with school. I start my new job in June.
So you're like a doctor.
Well, no, not
Few
that.
years
Kind
away.
of.
Kind
Yes.
Yeah.
You hardly ever see the doctor, right? You just
Yeah,
see the
you
nurse
can- yeah.
practitioner all
Yeah.
the time.
of, I guess.
Wow, you're gonna be famous and everything.
I don't think so. Not
Yes.
famous.
She just had her professional photographer
Oh,
take
yeah.
pictures,
I got my
and
professional headshot the other
she's
day.
gonna be on a billboard somewhere.
Yeah.
Aw. So you're working for Parkview?
Yep. With palliative care. So It kind of goes like hand in hand with hospice, but it's more, they describe it as like life-limiting illness is when palliative care gets involved. So you don't necessarily have to be like dying tomorrow as you, like a hospice situation seems like, but palliative care is more like managing symptoms and pain and things like that. So, and I'm going to do it like in hospital, inpatient rounding.
Don't you have to be pretty bad though to get palliative care?
Usually, yeah, especially like in the hospital, usually. I think like at the Cancer Institute, they refer almost all of their patients to palliative care to help with like pain management and whatever else. But in the hospital, yeah, it's usually it's definitely like end of life talks usually.
Like, is that something you chose?
Yeah, so I've been a nurse since 2019, so I was a nurse through COVID, and my unit was like the COVID ICU. So just through that, like there was a ton of like death and dying and end of life and really, really terrible, sad things. But like palliative care was super involved with almost all the patients. And I just saw like the way they touched those families' lives and like changed their lives, even though it was like the worst case scenario. And so that's something I really wanted to do.
It's somebody you really count on.
Yeah.
You know, being in that situation, I mean, that was because when insurance companies are involved and stuff happening, like when Sherry had cancer, and you're at this place, like if you don't have palliative care, like your wife's at home miserable.
Yeah.
Like, there's
for sure.
And so you call in and, you know how insurance works, right? You're supposed to get this, but then they can't get this.
Yeah.
And then, okay, we're just not going to fill your prescription.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking you have somebody, you got somebody, so you could call. This time we were calling people at Lutheran, and the palliative care nurse would get on, and they were just like, we'll get it done. We'll work through it with you. And the sense of like peace that you get for somebody that's, in that situation to help you navigate it, I think can be a huge influence. I know it was for us.
Yeah, so that's what I haven't started yet, but that's what I'm hopeful for. To make a positive, like peaceful difference in people's lives, like especially toward the end of life.
Okay, can I ask you an off the wall question?
Sure.
Since you're a doctor.
I'm not a doctor. I don't want to offend any doctors
you might as well
out there.
be a doctor.
I didn't go to med school. Like, I'm not a doctor.
You're close enough. Here's a question. So I listened to this medical thing, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. So they were talking about the COVID vaccine.
Okay.
So this lady was a nurse in the military, and then she got out and she's traveled around and done a bunch of different stuff. Well, anyway, she said that the COVID vaccine has actually been out on the market, not like as a vaccine, but something that's been trying to be trialed for like 10 years, but they couldn't get through the trials because it was actually killing people in the trials. But then when it came to COVID, they're like, the offset would be, oh, well, it's going to save some and kill some. That might be the deal. So we just need to get it out there.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't know a whole lot about the COVID vaccine, really. Like, I don't, like when I was like in the thick of it, I just tried to like separate myself from that because like I was seeing such horrible, like I was experiencing probably every shift I worked, probably at least 2 or 3 deaths every single day.
Did you really?
Yeah. Like it was so bad at a time. Like I just kind of removed myself from like the controversy of it. Cause when it was so bad, I was like, if this can save one person from having to die here alone in the hospital, like, at least personally for me, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I know it's so tricky and there's so much controversy, and like even like our household like didn't really agree on it, but I don't know. I just tried to like stay away from it.
And again, what people choose, that was okay.
Yeah,
I was just
sure.
curious on the whole, like, some of these things that you hear behind the scenes, you just
I
wonder.
did hear that it had been like the actual vaccine wasn't brand new in 2020.
No, like they had it, but it hadn't passed after you could go through the trials, that it actually was like killing people. So they're like, we can't make it through. But because COVID was such a huge thing, like we need to get something out there to offset.
Just to make people feel like they were doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was an off the wall.
No, I'm
question,
sure that's probably true. I'm sure it is.
Was buying all the conspiracy theories, right? That could be one of them. The Earth is flat. Nobody's ever been on the moon, right? All of those, right? Are you a conspiracy theorist?
My family is. I don't usually.
You don't believe in any of them?
Some of them sound plausible, but
Like what? Give me one.
the moon landing.
That nobody landed on the moon.
Yeah, because you look at the video. I don't know. It seems plausible, but I don't know. The video back then was kind of, but
Yeah.
my family gets into them a lot. I usually stay out of them.
Yeah, I just try to get people stirred up on them. I mean, I just think it's fun to like stir the
Yeah.
pot, get people going, and then they start talking, and then it's like you can sit back and watch everybody else get mad while you go sit there and watch everybody. Okay, so we're getting to the end. Did you have more questions? So, as a young couple, so raising kids, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out your personal relationships with Christ and how you can do it together. Advice for young couples. Marriage advice, raising kid advice, doing life advice.
That was to you.
Oh no, it's coming back. You got something. You have something at some point, so you think about it.
I think this is advice I heard. Well, Erica talk about when she was on the round table, like things, like diving headfirst into things that the whole family can be involved in. So like she does a small group. I don't even know whose small group it is, but she said kids are welcome. So she like gravitates toward things like that because the whole family can go. And I think that's advice we need to take, like just doing, because it's easy for us. Like we've had this conversation and I feel like it's easy. Like, should each of us do like a men's group and a women's group? And then that pulls us away from the kids at night. And like, I don't know, just the fine line of like filling our cup while also being there for our kids and being present and that kind of thing. So I think, yeah, like finding family-centered things is a good idea, and just to like a small group or get the whole family involved.
Yeah. Back to me then.
You can, like most men, just say ditto.
Ditto. I like that. Yeah, I think the best marriage advice I would have is whenever, everything gets crazy around you. You got the kids, especially if you got young kids and you're trying to keep them alive. And don't forget about your partner, I think that's a huge one, is you make so much time to go do these family activities. You need to set aside time for yourselves. So I think that's one of the biggest ones for me. What else you got?
No, that's great advice. Yeah.
I think that's something we struggle with every now and then. We'll catch yourself. You just get into the routine and you just forget about the other half. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think as young couples, like just being intentional.
Yeah.
So figuring out intentionally what matters most, right? And then make every decision based upon what matters most. Because you'll have 1,000 decisions, right? But unless you're intentional, you'll go to what's easy or urgent. I think that's what you see. As a young couple, it's like, you're just running around and then it's like, oh, there, and then, oh, there, or whatever's urgent, you're going to try to meet the needs. So were you guys saying, hey, we're going to thoughtfully think what is most important? Well, family, right? So as a family unit, it's most important to do things together. Then you can make a decision on a small group or make a decision on community or, just like that is being reminded, because I try to tell, everybody, all young couples, remember this, the person that's going to be there in the end is your wife, not your kids. So that seems weird when they're little because it seems like that's all life is about, is trying to keep them in that place. But if you can create a habit when they are young, because that's when we form really bad habits. You know what I mean? In our marriage, we form bad habits when the kids are young because really you have to almost, you know what I mean? Like if you're not intentional, you have to do things a certain way. So try to form the habit of saying, just like you said, Bruce, my wife is still number one. Right?
Well, her wife needs to be number 2. Love God.
Yes.
Love your spouse, then your children, then everything else. And I tell that to people all the time because my kid shared that at a staff meeting one time. And I always go, this was my notes like 2013 or something, and I just always go back to that because we can get that out of order so many times. And it's like, if you can get that right, then you're good. So make your spouse number 2.
Yeah. Well, again, super proud of you guys, of your walk and your journey, because a couple things, stand out to me is one, you guys sought something that you needed as a family. So when you switched churches, you came and you sought out community. You sought out the things, too many times I think as young couples, they sit back and they wait. You know, all of us did it at some point, waiting. But you guys sought out community. You sought out places to get involved. And then, you know, people, I think we can all learn from this. Remember that we also need to be intentional with young couples. You know, sometimes as older adults, we're like, thank goodness we don't have to raise kids anymore. You know, or thank goodness we don't have to go through those stages. But little text messages, to food at the house, like things that we can help young couples with. I think we need to learn, you know, to be able, you know, to be a part of that and see how that can impact or, you know, help in those ways. And again, like you said, being a thinking, intentional couple that is going to put God first, each other first, and then your family. I think it'll be a great inspiration and a great, because we're hoping for that to be changing in all people's lives so that they can get to that,
for sure.
that way. So again, once this comes out, make sure that you like, share, or comment. It'll come out on Facebook. And if you like, share, or comment, it'll be, make sure it makes it on other people's feed. If you are listening, make sure that you go to our YouTube and subscribe, because we want you to go there, see Bruce and Jessica, so you can come up and see them on a Sunday morning. If you don't know them, you can come up and introduce first, second, guys, service.
We have young kids, so we are up and ready for first service.
Yeah. So make sure you come up and say hi, encourage them on their journey. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.